As of today, we are currently working on our house build where we are building our home on our homestead. And so I thought with as much progress that we've made, this will be the perfect opportunity to take you guys back with us so that we can look at where we started all the way until where we are now. So basically, let's go through our homestead journey so far. So we have owned our land for about almost 2 years now. It'll be 2 years in the fall, and we have been out here for about almost a year. Our first task was to get our land surveyed, and let me tell you, it sounds like it's easy, but it's not. It was so hard to find a land surveyor down in Cochise County. I'm pretty sure there is only one that does the entire area, because everyone we talk to as of now has literally had their land surveyed by the same exact person. But that was our main priority, because we wanted to make sure, since we were going to start working on our fence first, we wanted to ensure that we were building on our property instead of building on the neighbor's property next to us. But to make the process easier for not only us, but also the land surveyor, which also dropped our cost and how much we had to pay, we ended up going and finding our own rebars. So our first major project that we decided to take on was fencing in our land. So we have 2.14 acres, and so we wanted to make sure that we got that fenced in for security reasons and to also keep animals out as well. This was Elijah and I's first time at attempting any type of project like this, especially one including a block wall. But we like to live by the mindset that we can teach ourselves anything. People who do this professionally, they learned it themselves, so why can't we learn it as well? So we were definitely ambitious, and to this day, I think we still have enjoyed the process, and we definitely enjoy the results. We were able to get everything backfilled, and we had all the blocks done on the 24-foot section of the wall, which honestly it was just a great feeling just to know that we had built that, and it's a structure that was finally on our land, claiming it as ours. With us finishing all the concrete portions of the wall, it was now time for what we now know to be our favorite part of the fence building process, which was to start installing all the framing that goes on the pillars, and then also install all the slats, which completely transformed the look of the wall and brought everything together. Okay, so back to the fence. So with our 24-foot section done, we decided that we wanted to take a break before we started the next big section. So we figured, let's work on the back corners. Now, usually we had seen different homesteaders and also just farmers who do gates. When they do their corner pillars, they usually put one post in, and then they put two more posts, kind of making like a little L shape. And then they have to use wire or some type of tensioner in order to hold tension for the wire that they end up putting up, and to also, strengthen the gate as a whole. But we didn't want to do that, because in our minds, it was easier for us just to build concrete pillars. So of course we decided to do concrete pillars. So we ended up starting off with our footer, just like we did with the 24-foot section, except for this one was a little tiny, little small footer. And then we installed our rebar into there, and then once it dried, we went ahead and started stacking up our pillars. With all the other projects coming to completion that we were working on, it was now time for us to start on our wonderful 56-foot section of the fence on the other side of the property, which meant it was time to dig a trench that was 56 feet long. Great stuff. Pretty much with this section of the wall, we did the exact same thing. Well, I don't want to say exact, but we did very similar things that we did when we did the 24-foot section. So we had dug out our trench to the correct depth, and then we went ahead and poured a concrete footer. Now, the only difference that we did from the 24-foot section is that we put the rebar in the ground before pouring the concrete, or I guess as we were pouring the concrete, rather than doing it after like we did with the other side. Now, I can't really tell you which method is better. I feel like it was easier for us to put them in afterwards, just because it's so windy that we can't really truly run a string line. We've twisted it and twisted it. I put it around like the little pin that we use in the ground to tension it, and we wrap it in a way that we can just turn that pin to tighten it. And the wind is so strong that it just doesn't work. It doesn't matter. Like the string will snap by the point that we get it tight enough to where it won't bend. So without having the string, it's just hard to lay the rebar, and so I don't know. I don't know. We've tried both methods. I think we like it better doing it afterwards, but it is a pain doing it afterwards. So it's kind of like a lose-lose situation for us, but we're done with it now. So while we were relaxing and having fun working on our landscaping and our trees on the property, lo and behold, did we know that in a few short weeks we were going to become the new owners of a 1994 travel trailer, which was one of the major keys that we needed in order to get ourselves onto the land, because of course we needed somewhere to live while we were building our house. And with us now owning the trailer, that means it is time for renovation projects. Since having Terry, we jumped right into the projects to get him in a livable state. Well, he's livable now, but an aesthetically livable state. But so far, since we've had him, we've taken care of the backsplash behind the kitchen sink. We have primed and painted 100% of his walls. We have also redid the bathroom as well. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. We also built out the kids' sleeping areas. So for little man, we built him a full crib, standard to any size crib you would go and buy at the store. For her, we put a little toddler guard so she doesn't roll off. And then we also put wallpaper up inside their areas to complete out their sleeping areas to make it nice and comfortable. We also ended up updating the bathroom a little bit. So we first started with taking out the old toilet and swapping it out for a residential height toilet. And then we also ripped up the linoleum floor that was in there just to replace it with the floor that we had going throughout the rest of Terry. And it also makes it a lot easier for cleaning as well. While working on renovating Terry, we also got back to the 56-foot section of our block wall that we were building. So we were able to knock this one out in about 2 days, I believe, this entire section of the wall. We did have to rebuild a couple pillars because the cows were out at that time and they knocked a couple over. So they were getting a little bit janky, but overall the wall ended up coming out looking very nice. To this day, we are still haven't finished the wall. We have to go through and frame it and add the top caps. So around this time, this is when we also met with the power company. They came out to our land and basically went over kind of the gist of everything with us. Luckily for us, we did have a transformer attached to the top of our pole and had a pole right at the back of our property. So just having those two things saved us thousands of dollars just to bring power to the land. But this was officially the kickoff to us discovering power. So with the 56-foot section of the wall done, it was now time for us to work on the actual entrance section where we get to install our pillars that will be framing out our two gates for us. So when it came to hanging our gates, we figured that it would be better for us to put in posts in the ground rather than attach the posts to the concrete. One, because when we were looking at the hardware that we needed to convert the gate from a wood post mounting system to a block mounting system was a lot more expensive, and also it would be easier for us to swap things out in the future if it was inside a wooden post rather than having that gate on our actual concrete pillars. But we also did decide that this would be our 20-foot gate opening, and so rather than using one big giant gate, we decided that we would do a 14-foot gate and pair that with a smaller 6-foot gate. And so with the help of Toppins, we were also able to install our solar gate opener, which allowed us to remote control the gate and have it open and close so that in the future, when we did live on the land, we didn't have to worry about getting in and out of the car just to access this gate. So if you guys are looking for a gate opener, we now own 2 of Toppins products. They are very, very good. And you can find a discount code in the description so you can get a discount on your purchase. So with all the project that we've worked on so far, we were finally in our crunch time phase of where we were in the last few days of preparing to actually move. So we had to finish getting Terry into a livable condition because he still needed a lot of work. So we spent the last few weeks before moving. Painting, getting the cabinets installed, getting all the hardware installed, changing out the lights inside of Terry to cool lights because they consumed a lot less energy, switching to LED lights, and then also we had to get our sink installed in the bathroom, and so just a bunch of different finishing touches to where we would feel comfortable being inside of Terry. So with all the renovations that we did on Terry, it was finally time for us to officially move. And so basically we said goodbye to our city life and hello to our new homestead life. So with us moving down here, our next priority was to work on electrical, which you all know if you've seen our last few videos, it has been a very long process for us, but we have finally made it here. And then somewhere in between all of this chaos, we did get our septic installed. Our neighbor helped us, which saved us thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars installing it. So we wanted a safe space for the kids to be and also for us to hang out outside because we are in the desert. So there's all kinds of little creepy, crawly, slithering things that are out here with us. So we just wanted to make sure that we had one designated spot where we could be, where the kids could be free, and where we could enjoy ourselves without having to constantly look over our shoulders. So we ended up building ourselves a little RV play area for the kids. And so it is the length of Terry, and then it's about 10 feet deep coming off of Terry. And let me tell you, it's like the perfect spot for us to be. Once we ended up installing all the mesh, and then we meshed off the back end where it goes under Terry. Pretty much it's kept everything out. The only thing that we've had in here is lizards, which occasionally we get a lizard every few days, which we go ahead and take care of those. But it's kept out a snake for sure that we already know of. It was just a bull snake, so nothing too crazy. It's kept out rodents. Pretty much anything that we don't want to be in here has not come into the play area. So it's a great little gathering space for us to be. So eventually it was time for us to pick up back on our perimeter fencing. So we just started dropping posts in the ground like crazy. And so we got a lot done with our fence post. You guys haven't seen much more of it because it's all just repetitive stuff of us just doing the same thing over and over again. We also ended up finally installing our 6-foot gate on our 20-foot gate opening on the other side of the property, and we ended up buying a peach tree. As of right now, we have a peach tree, an olive tree, and a pomegranate tree, and even though we're in the desert, they are doing magnificently. So we started picking up the pace a little bit with our fencing project, and so we ended up building our 2 entrance pillars on our 12-foot section of our fence opening. We also installed our 2 6-foot gates, and we also installed our top-end solar gate arms on this side of the fence as well. So, telling you, don't sleep on top-ends. Check out the description. So we finally made the decision to hook Terry up permanently to our septic system, and so that was a nice big project for us. Luckily, we ended up having a tractor on the property where it had a backhoe attachment, so we were able to dig out the trench that this line will be following along with our house footer as well. So during this time, we probably ended up installing about 100+ feet of pipe, and it definitely got us into the plumbing mode of where we were more comfortable with plumbing. This was the first plumbing job that we truly did, so it was a nice little practice run before we actually decided to start plumbing the house. Bringing us into present day, we officially have our 200 amps of power that we brought onto the property. You guys haven't seen it yet, but we have gone ahead and set up our shore power and done all of that. You'll see it in an upcoming video as we speak. We are currently enjoying the AC in this 100-degree weather. We also have the house foundation started. You guys will start seeing a little bit more of that progress as well. We still are working on forming it up, and then you'll see when we start plumbing everything. So we will keep you updated when we get to those parts. So looking back while I edit and make this video is kind of eye-opening to see how much progress that we've done in it feels like such a short amount of time, even though it's been like a year and some months. But being out here, we haven't regretted it for 1 minute. It has allowed us to have more freedom. It's allowed us to have more family time. We've met amazing people out here that we wouldn't have met unless we've taken this leap of faith to follow this journey. And so I hope that you guys have enjoyed watching our journey so far, and I hope that you are just as excited as we are to see what is coming forward. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.